Just keep going, just keep going up, just keep going, just keep going up. You can't turn back, you come too far, you can't give up, you work too hard. Just keep going, just keep going up, just keep going, just keep going up. You can't turn back, you come too far, you can't give up, you work too hard.
Welcome back to Dissertation in 90 Days, where we break down the complexities of your doctoral journey into actionable steps. I'm Dr. J, your host, and today we're going to explore a topic that is absolutely central to your research, the theoretical framework. Often referred to as the backbone of a dissertation, the theoretical framework is the lens through which you will view your research problem and interpret your findings. Crafting a strong theoretical framework is not just about picking a theory or model that seems to fit. It's about creating a solid foundation that guides your entire research process, from your literature review to your data analysis. In this episode, we'll discuss what a theoretical framework is, why it's so crucial, and how you can develop one that strengthens your dissertation. Whether you're just starting out or refining your existing framework, this episode will provide you with the insights you need to succeed. Let's get started. First things first, what exactly is a theoretical framework? Simply put, a theoretical framework is a set of concepts and theories that you use to guide your research. It helps you to define your research question, design your study, and interpret your findings. Think of it as the blueprint for your research. It shapes your approach, influences your methodology, and provides a context for your results. The importance of a well-developed theoretical framework cannot be overstated. It's not just an academic exercise, it's what ties your entire dissertation together. Your theoretical framework provides the rationale for your research, linking it to existing knowledge and helping you to justify why your study is necessary. Without a strong framework, your research can lack focus, making it difficult to draw meaningful conclusions or contribute to your field. Now let's talk about how to choose the right theoretical framework for your study. The first step is to revisit your research question. Your theoretical framework should be closely aligned with the questions you're trying to answer. For example, if you're studying the impact of leadership styles on employee performance, you might draw on leadership theories such as transformational leadership or transactional leadership. If your research is focused on social behavior, you might consider theories of social identity or social capital. It's also important to consider the nature of your research problem. Are you looking to explore a phenomenon in depth, or are you testing a specific hypothesis? If your research is exploratory, you might choose a broader, more flexible framework that allows for the discovery of new insights. If your research is more focused on testing specific relationships, you might select a more established theory that has clear variables and constructs. Once you have an idea of the theories that might be relevant, the next step is to conduct a thorough literature review. This will help you to identify the key theories and concepts that have been used in similar studies and to assess their strengths and weaknesses. As you review the literature, pay attention to how different theories have been applied and whether they've been successful in explaining the phenomena you're interested in. This will help you to make an informed decision about which framework is the best fit for your study. But choosing a theoretical framework isn't just about finding a theory that has been used before. It's about making it your own. You need to critically engage with the theories you're considering, thinking about how they apply to your research and what they might add to your study. For instance, if you're studying organizational behavior, you might choose to combine elements of several theories, such as combining social exchange theory with organizational justice theory to create a framework that better addresses your specific research question. This leads us to an important point. Your theoretical framework doesn't have to be limited to a single theory. In fact, many researchers find that a combination of theories provides a more comprehensive lens through which to view their research problem. For example, if you're studying educational outcomes, you might draw on both cognitive learning theories and social learning theories to capture the full complexity of the learning process. The key is to ensure that the theories you choose are compatible and that together they provide a coherent framework for your research. After selecting your theoretical framework, the next step is to clearly define the key concepts and constructs that will guide your study. This involves not only identifying the main ideas from your chosen theories, but also explaining how they relate to each other and to your research question. For example, if you're using transformational leadership theory, you might define key constructs such as inspirational motivation and individualized consideration, and explain how these relate to employee performance. Defining your concepts is critical because it ensures that everyone who reads your dissertation understands exactly what you mean by the terms you're using. This is particularly important in academic research, where different fields and disciplines might use the same terms in different ways. By clearly defining your concepts, you establish a common understanding that helps to avoid confusion and ensures that your research is interpreted correctly. Another important aspect of developing your theoretical framework is operationalizing your constructs. Operationalization involves turning abstract concepts into measurable variables that you can study empirically. For example, if you're studying job satisfaction as part of your framework, you need to decide how you're going to measure it. Will you use a survey? If so, what kind of questions will you ask? How will you ensure that your measure accurately captures the concept of job satisfaction? Operationalizing your constructs is not just a technical exercise. It's a crucial step that links your theoretical framework to your methodology. It's what allows you to take the abstract ideas in your framework and apply them to the real world. Without this step, your theoretical framework remains purely conceptual and can't be tested or validated through empirical research. Let's also consider how to present your theoretical framework in your dissertation. Typically, the theoretical framework is introduced early in your dissertation, often in the literature review or methodology chapter. It's important to clearly explain not only what your framework is, but also why you chose it. This means discussing the strengths and limitations of the theories you've selected and explaining how they relate to your research question. When writing about your theoretical framework, aim for clarity and coherence. Your goal is to present a logical and compelling argument that shows how your framework will guide your research. This includes discussing how your theoretical framework informs your hypotheses or research questions, how it shapes your methodology, and how it will be used to interpret your findings. Remember, your theoretical framework is not just a background detail. It's a central part of your research that needs to be integrated throughout your dissertation. It's also worth noting that your theoretical framework might evolve as your research progresses. This is particularly true if you're conducting exploratory research, where new findings might lead you to refine or even change your framework. If this happens, it's important to document these changes and to explain why they were necessary. This shows that you're thinking critically about your research and that you're open to adapting your approach in response to new insights. Finally, let's talk about the common challenges that students face when developing a theoretical framework and how to overcome them. One of the biggest challenges is simply choosing a framework in the first place. With so many theories out there, it can be overwhelming to decide which one is the best fit for your research. The key here is to stay focused on your research question. Choose a framework that directly addresses the questions you're trying to answer and that aligns with your methodology. Another common challenge is understanding the theory you've chosen well enough to apply it effectively. Academic theories can be complex and abstract, and it's easy to get lost in the details. To overcome this, take the time to really engage with the theory. Read primary sources, discuss it with your advisor or peers, and think critically about how it applies to your research. Don't be afraid to ask questions or seek help if you're struggling to understand a particular concept or idea. So, there you have it, an in-depth look at developing a theoretical framework for your dissertation. Remember, your theoretical framework is not just a formality. It's the foundation that supports your entire study. By choosing the right theories, defining your concepts clearly, and integrating your framework throughout your research, you can create a strong and coherent dissertation that makes a meaningful contribution to your field. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Dissertation in 90 Days. I hope you found these insights helpful as you work on your theoretical framework. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. Share this podcast with your fellow grad students who might also benefit from these strategies. And as always, I encourage you to connect with our Grad Mentor Network for more resources and support. Remember, developing a theoretical framework is a critical step in your dissertation journey. Stay focused, stay curious, and don't hesitate to seek help if you need it. With the right framework in place, you're well on your way to conducting impactful research. Until next time, keep striving for excellence in your work. I'm Dr. J, signing off. Goodbye.